Good evening and welcome this evening. It's 10 o'clock, I think, on a Sunday night, and we wanted to get this out before the week started. Wanted to get this out to you folks. You know, the behind the crime series on the Kevin Allen Show. We haven't done it in a while, and we've been sort of putting it off because we've been building so much content with this story we're going to be covering, and it's an exclusive story. Conversations with Jason Vukovich, who is incarcerated in a Alaska prison. They call him the Alaskan Avenger. Now, I don't think that Jason himself named himself that, but that is what he's been labeled. And Jason's story is one that's going to be trending again soon because he is up for parole. You see him standing here on the very day of his sentencing, looking at his brother, who we'll talk about further along in the stories as Jason shares with us exclusively from his prison in Alaska. He'll be talking about how he and his brother were beaten by his stepfather and molested. Both Jason and his brother fought back as best they could, but a system in Alaska at the time convicted the stepfather and sent him back to the very home where these two young men were being victimized. Jason went on to escape from those conditions, running away from home and living off the streets. In his own words, he became a product of the environment. His survival skills, as he shares the stories you'll hear, he became somewhat of an expert survivor on the streets of Alaska. His convictions and criminal involvement span across America in many different parts. Ultimately, he landed back into Alaska where he, as in his own words, said, hitting rock bottom, feeling hopeless, and feeling the victim that he is, he decided one day to go out and start attacking individuals who were convicted as sex offenders on the sex offender registry in Alaska. After his first attack, Jason decided to do it again, using his hands to beat the first two sex offenders. The third was the one that concerned law enforcement, as they say in the prosecution. Jason was accused of using a hammer in that last incident that took place, where he actually used the hammer to hit the victim over the head. The story goes on to many different levels as you get into the Jason Vukovich story and you learn about his not just life of crime, but why is there a Jason? What happened to make him who he is? The very system for which is designed to protect the victims, children, in Alaska, not just helped create a victim, they, in many ways, participated in the victimizing of Jason and his brother. I was introduced to Jason through his sister, who we met online, looking for new stories to cover. Shortly after talking with Jason's sister, she got me hooked up with Jason on a phone call. And we're going to listen to the first phone call we had with him, and we're going to start playing these phone calls and these interviews as we build up ultimately to Jason's parole hearing, which is coming up in April of this year. Many people are very interested in this topic because, as you and I probably both agree, Jason's a victim. But I want you to make your own decisions. Hear the words of Jason Vukovich when he shares his story, his life journey, first as someone that was just interviewing him for a story, who eventually became a friend.
At Goose Creek Correctional Center, this call is not private. be recorded and may be monitored. If you believe this should be a private call, please hang up and follow facility instructions to register this number as a private number. To accept charges and consent to this recorded call, press 1. To refuse charges, thank you for using Securus. You may stop the conversation now.
Hello, hello?
Hey, Jason, it's Kevin. How are you?
Kevin, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, bro? I mean, listen, really crazy how the world works these days, huh? You're a retired CO, started a podcast, and now I'm talking to you, brother.
I'm saying, so I was going to tell you before we even say anything further to each other, let me give you a very brief preface of the reality of our interaction, okay? Which is, so number one, my sister, she gave me the rundown. So you literally tell me nothing. You and I will just conversate however we do. That is the best way. And I say that because I'm currently housed under the most oppressive, repressive regime or administration I have ever been housed under. And I'm telling you now, if we say anything at all whatsoever other than a couple of dudes conversating, they will systematically do everything in their power to make sure you and I cannot be friends. So
Understood.
Anyway,
No doubt. I understand, and we'll have further conversations about how that. I understand that really, really well. So I get it.
And my thing is that honestly, just so you know my heart, I'm coming from a place of keep in mind everything that I have done in my life, up to and including the events that landed me here, were personal, and for personal reasons, and for personal, mission based things to give my heart closure and things like that. So it's very interesting that now I'm at this stage in life, and I'm telling you now, I'm interested in publicity only if it's wrapped with purpose. So if that's achievable, then that's awesome. That's great. You know what I mean? If it's some sort of, hey, let's tell the story of the melon cracker at Christmas. Then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a little less interested in that because I don't really feel too self-congratulatory at this stage of my life, okay? And I guess the best way for me to state it to you, and then we can move on, is when I was a little ass kid, if some tattooed up badass would have booted in the door and beat the brakes off the guy that was molesting me, I would have given a small cheer and probably had some sort of faith in things greater than I was. And that never happened for me, ever. And so, for real, the fact that I was able to be that for a couple of someone else's, worth it. You know what I mean?
I definitely get it. I get it. It's one of those things where, I think a lot of people, we think we can put ourselves into to situations and scenarios, and it's very easy to judge, right? It's easy to Monday morning quarterback.
Sure.
But
well, and interestingly, that's another thing that I found very interesting in all of this. And mind you, I live in a fucking concrete shoebox, bro. I haven't seen the internet in 8 years. Okay, so I have zero clue. I mean, I have a clue, but I have not seen it myself at all. But what I thought was really interesting was this wide backlash that I became privy to of this guy is a fucking criminal and he's no fucking angel, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, you're absolutely correct. You are 100% correct. Let me tell you, childhood trauma and sexual abuse is rocket fuel for addiction, destructive behavior, lack of any concern for self first, and then others secondary, obviously. And the thing is, growing up, number one, I didn't know who to ask because nobody gave a fuck the whole way. And number two, I didn't know what to ask because I pretty much thought I'm supposed to be strong and tell everybody it's all good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like when that sort of backlash washed over me, I thought to myself, this is all very interesting because there has never been any time in my life where I've stood before any audience, great or small, and said, I am special and I am fucking amazing. I've never said that once, bro. Ever, not once. Nor would I. So So I might be special, but maybe not in that way. You know what I mean?
That's great. Yeah. I mean, I don't sense that what you're sitting in jail for is something that you are trying to like pound your chest over and say, "Look at me."
Not at all.
I don't sense
Not
that.
at all. Not at all. And I mean, and the thing is too, I've had to be extremely careful going forward and trust and believe I have the capability of inspiring all sorts of people to do all sorts of things. And one of the things that I learned as part of my progression, because as humans, this is what we do throughout the course of our life, is I thought to myself, rather than encouraging a whole bunch more people to go assault a whole bunch more people, it would probably be wise to encourage a whole bunch of people to go do 10 amazing things for a child that needs it, and advance their community and themselves in that manner instead, and mind you, similarly, bro, I am not saying if you are an abused youngster and you grow up and you have a chip on your shoulder against pedophiles that I would ever hold any of your actions against you, because I understand the feeling, I understand the pain of it, I understand the suffering of it, you know what I mean? And I would never, ever judge a person who grew up and acted out against some pedophiles in a certain manner.
Right.
However, let me tell you right now, if you've been emotionally a prisoner and spiritually a prisoner and psychologically a prisoner growing up throughout your life as a result of being molested, then let me tell you, it's some sort of fucked up outcome to end up physically a fucking prisoner. It's shitty. And I don't wish that for anyone. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like continuing that prison in a different sense.
Yeah.
And did you get what you really wanted out of that one moment, which you tried to justify those emotions? It's crazy. I get it, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, another aspect of that too is you got to realize, and this again, these are just very personal moments in my life. So understand, when I was 8 years old, I stood in a courtroom in the state of Alaska after they had just grilled me top to bottom, front to back, about the molestation and child abuse, and found the dude, the stepdad who adopted us, guilty of doing all these things. And I stood there and listened while they sentenced him to 3 years in prison, suspended, 0 jail time. And they sent this fucking creep right back to the house. And he was back home within 2 days. No follow-up by the state whatsoever. Fast forward 25, 30 years or so, I literally, bro, imagine the irony of this. I stood in the exact same courtroom in Anchorage, Alaska, the same courtroom, and they sentenced me to 23 years in prison for having the audacity to assault 3 pedophiles in their state. And they were very, very offended and shocked and horrified that someone would dare to do such a thing. And I understand a government's opposition to vigilantism, and I would never encourage that. However, I was a little bit surprised as I stood there that they couldn't see a little bit deeper and recognize, for me, I'm like, how can you guys possibly be shocked? I'm an Alaska guy. I was raised here. I was born here. Of course I grew up upset at these people. You know what I mean? And the thing, too, about that, which is interesting, at least in my view, I'm a simple guy, bro. I believe simple is genius. I try to not overcomplicate situations. So early on, I wrote a letter to the prosecutor's office, and I was grateful that Anchorage Daily News published that. You can find it. And I told him, check this out. I will plead guilty to any combination of charges you wish, whatever they are. I don't care. But there's one caveat, and that's my sentence is to equal in length what each pedophile served in prison for assaulting a child. So one of them had raped his own daughter, did something like 2 years in prison. One of them was convicted of molesting his 10-month-old baby granddaughter and served something like 1 year, 9 months. The other one was a child pornographer and did 3 years in prison. So it came to 6 years, 9 months, all of their sentences combined. And then I told him, I will also serve the 3 years in prison suspended that you gave the monster who made me when I was a little 8-year-old kid and took my life away from me. I'll serve his 3 years too.
Did you say that? Did you say that at sentencing?
Yeah, well, that is what I wrote in the written offer to the prosecutor. And like I say, Anchorage Daily News published it front page.
Okay.
I told him, you can find that too. It's there. So I told him, run that. 9 years, 9 months. I'll plead guilty to whatever you want. I'm serving all of their sentences. And they laughed that out of court. They said, this is not how we conduct, law in the state of Alaska. And so, as we know, ultimately, in the end, they gave me nearly 3 times longer than all of the pedophiles combined for assaulting the pedophiles than they got for assaulting children.
Did they try? Did they try to justify that? Did they try to? Did they address it at all?
Well, the way that it went down, you have to understand another interesting dynamic in all of this was, okay, I recall being in the courtroom, and mind you, apparently the prosecutor's job is to absolutely defame me as a drug addict and loser that was out there hitting soft targets so I can steal stuff from them.
Mm-hmm.
That apparently was his mission. And one of the interesting things that transpired along the way was I recall him asking for some sort of an extension or another move in a court date. And he was telling the judge it's because he and his wife were having their first child. And again, silently sitting across from this person, I was just thinking to myself, you know what, bro? I would not wish this on any human being on the planet, but I'm telling you now, God forbid, your child, which you don't even know yet, should ever run into one of these monsters like this. You're going to wish somebody like me was around to hard check one of these faggots that run around your community and touch little kids. You know what I mean? And it puts me in the most ridiculous position. Because imagine being a guy so indignant whose life was ruined by one of these sorts of people, and you're basically being criticized and you're being vilified for having negative emotion towards a certain group, pedophile. It was just, there's no other way to say it than it was confusing. It's just an absolute piece of insanity, just to be real with you.
I can't imagine.
So
you talk a lot about just this beginning of that age when this started. You're being victimized. How old were you, Jason, when you first got victimized?
I believe that I was 4 or 5 years old when Larry Fulton started coming in our bedroom at night. And his process was like under the guise of, mind you, I was raised by Christian people in a big giant Christian church. So his thing was he was a swing shift employee for AT&T as an operator. So he would come home at 11 or 11:30 at night. And his trick was he would come in to quote unquote pray for my brother and I late at night when everyone was asleep. So it was just one of those things where as long as we could remember, and I'll never forget, we had an aquarium in our room, and that purple-ish aquarium light I can never have in this lifetime in any home or room I'm in ever. Because I remember just the terror of hearing his hand on the doorknob of the bedroom and him coming in from a very young age. And it started with all kinds of touching and fondling and things like that. And it progressed to further things. And not to be too blatant or gruesome, but I'm telling you now, if you are a young man or a young child and your first orgasm is at the hands of your stepfather, imagine what that sets you up for in this life as far as relationships, as far as trusting authority, as far as, your relationship to other, I guess, imagine me going to school, okay, and now I'm going to spend the night at somebody else's house, and what's in my mind at 8 or 9 years old is,
You have 1 minute left.
I wonder if his dad comes in at night to touch us or not. And that's what you're thinking about while you're laying there trying to go to sleep. Bro, that's horrible. That's absolutely horrible.
Right.
And something like that probably wasn't even in the atmosphere of, I hope, of the other children I was around. But that's the sort of burden that you grow up with, which really, it amounts to like a coal in your heart that just sits there and burns. You know what I mean? And that's why this issue is so important, and it's important for people to, understand the origin of it and things like that, because it's just a horrible thing. It really is.
I could say I could imagine. I do have a similar. We'll share. I'm sure we're going to end here in about 30 seconds. What's the plan when it goes off? We're going to wait till another time.
I'll call you right back.
Very good.
No, I'll call you right back.
How many times will you be calling tonight? Just twice?
We can go. Yeah, we can go as long as you need to go.
Thank you for using Securus. The caller has hung up. Thank you. We'll add.
And there you go. My first interview with Jason was in December this year. And I got a chance to meet him after his sister, Angelina, who I think is watching right here now, actually, was able to get me on to Jason's phone list. And we started our conversations. And I'm going to play, I think every night I'll play, or every day I'll play one or two of the interviews that I've done with Jason. And let me be very clear that when I started this in the interviews with Jason, and I have lots of them logged, I started it as a journalist attempt, right? To tell a story, to share a story with the viewers, and really not to be taking, positions or sides, understanding that I was going to talk to someone who has been damaged, someone that I've met before. I mean, I've been in the prison system for 21 years, but, as you hear these conversations with Jason and I, you'll realize that we fast became friends and started to share with each other stories. I started to share with him, and he started to share his obviously more impactful journey. But if you caught on to anything in this first most important interview, was exactly why Jason became who he is. The very system who is designed to protect our children in this country has been, still is, and always will be corrupted by individuals who protect the criminals. Sex offenses across this country take advantage of not just the children, but the system, money, influence. And you'll hear more of these stories from Jason as we go along in these interviews that we get from his jail cell in Alaska. These exclusive interviews, again, put together by his sister, which Angelina, I owe you a call, and we're going to talk soon, because I know I was supposed to wait to do this, but I didn't want to wait anymore, because it's very important for you folks to understand. This is a story about someone who was victimized and a system refused to take responsibility in Alaska. And we want to shed a light on exactly what happened. So you'll be seeing these stories pop up. Jason's parole is coming up in April. We'll be putting more information out there. Follow what we put out. Free Jason Vukovich as well. We'll put all the links here. You'll be able to follow everything along with this story. And we look forward to sharing it right here on the Kevin Allen Show as we continue to try to really share the true side of the Alaskan Avenger, Jason Vukovich.